Hi guys, so this video is a preview for Tuesday's lesson. It is on comparing proportional relationships. To compare proportional relationships represented in different ways, we learned on Monday that it is helpful if we find the unit rate. Alright, so below you will see the rental costs for a bike at Central Park from 3 different shops. So we see it from a table, from a graph, and from an equation. So we're going to find the unit rate for all 3 of those things before we can compare which rental place we want to prefer. Okay, so in order to find the unit rate, remember we need to think about the units itself. So we want to figure out what is the cost over some period of time. In class on Monday, we talked about the price over the amount. Here we're talking about the price over a certain period of time. So what I do is I pick a point from the table. So let's say I pick this one. My unit rate would be the cost, so $27 over the time, which is 3/4. Now on my calculator, I'm just going to go ahead and divide that. So 27 divided by 3/4 is 36. Now what does that 36 mean? It means it will cost $36 for 1 hour. And I know it's hour because of this little symbol right here. Okay, so that's the unit rate for store 1. Let's look at the next one. So I can do the same thing from a graph. I can pick a coordinate. So this coordinate is 250. And I can do the same thing. Now, I need to know though, and I'll write this here, which one is my cost and which one is my time. So if I look at my axes, remember this is our x-axis, so that's time. So that's this 2. And then my y-axis is money, and that's the 50. So when I set up my unit rate, I'm setting it up with 50 on top, because we're doing cost over time divided by 2. And when I do that in my calculator, I get 25. So again, that means it will cost $25 for 1 hour. Okay, and lastly is an equation. And remember, unit rate means when we're talking about the quantity of 1. So in this case, we're talking about the quantity of time, which is 1 hour. So how I figure out my unit rate from an equation is wherever I see t or x, I'm going to plug in 1. So if you remember from last unit, the only thing I'm changing is that variable. Everything else stays the same. So c equals 28 times 1, which is 28. So that means my unit rate is $28 for 1 hour. Okay, so that is how to find the unit rate from a table, from a graph, and from an equation. All right, I'm going to go back to the graph for a second because I want to show you another way. Another way you can find the unit rate, instead of picking a point, you can pick from one point to the next and see how much it moves. So here is 1 hour because we're talking about unit rate, which is 1. And it goes 1 this way and 25 this way. So that's the same thing as saying 25 divided by 1, which gives us the unit rate of 25, which we had down here. So that's just a second way to do it. But if you don't get that way, you can stick with the first one. All right, so based off those 3 pieces of information, which rental place would you prefer to use? Okay, so I would prefer shop 2 because the unit rate of $25 per hour is cheaper. All right, so why don't you try the example with Milo? So I'm going to go ahead and annotate. Milo pays $3 per pound for dog food at Pat's Pet Palace. The graph below shows the cost per pound at Mark's Market. Which store will Milo, that's supposed to say Milo, pay a lower price per pound of dog food? So here our unit rate is talking about the price per pound. Okay, so if I look in my sentence, I'll see here my first scenario. So at Pat's, it is $3 for 1 pound. So that unit rate is 3. All right, and then what we do to figure out from Mark's, which is on the graph, we pick a coordinate. So I'm going to find a coordinate that is nice and easy on the graph. So it looks like this one. All right, so that would be 5 and 20. And remember, our cost is going to go first, so that's our y. Divided by 5 is our weight. And that gets me $4 per pound. Okay, so what store would Milo pay a lower price? At Pat's store, he pays the lower price of $3 per 1 pound. Okay, go ahead and try the example 2 with Amanda. Okay, Amanda babysits and Petra does yard work. Amanda made $24 for 4 hours of babysitting. Petra's earnings are shown in the table below. So we have Amanda and Petra. Okay, and we're going to figure out who earns more per hour. So we're talking about cost per hour. All right, so Amanda's cost is $24 per 4 hours. When I divide those, that equals $6 for 1 hour. That's my unit rate for Amanda. For Petra, I pick a point on the table. So now I have $30 divided by 6 hours. And that equals $5 for 1 hour. All right, so who earns more per hour? Based off our unit rate, Amanda earns more money per hour. All right, and last question. Based off this homework and what you learned so far this week, how can you compare a proportional relationship represented in different ways? I want you to take a look at what we wrote in the beginning of this homework and complete the sentence. So, the sentence we were looking for is you can compare relationships by finding their unit rates. Good job.